What is your take on the latest with KJ Bolden?
Yeah, we know Auburn's very involved. He had an in-home with both Auburn, Hugh Freeze, last week, and then also one with Kirby Smart as well from Georgia. I'm more feeling that Auburn's more of a threat based on the people I talk to. They know it's a battle. I mean, FSU knew that when they got the commitment. I knew that when he committed, just the way the wording, the stuff he was saying. But at the same time, everything I get from the FSU side, even people around KJ is like, yes, they're threats, but we still feel good that the place that where FSU is. But they also like it is a threat. But there's some things that are materializing that look good as far as a visit pattern. I hear from what my sources are telling me that FSU will do an in-home next week. That's probably the big one with Coach Norvell, Sertain, probably whoever's been involved in this recruiting, whether it's Alex Axons or whoever, area recruiters. I think everyone will be there. So that's kind of the setup, the big one for this weekend because he's officially visiting. So I think the visit's definitely set up there. But yeah, I mean, anytime Auburn's involved, we know how that works. That you have concerns and worries. So there's certainly a threat, and I'm not going to downplay that. But at the same time, that's kind of what I have with him right now. He took a unique visit this weekend to Syracuse because his former recruiter, I guess, Fran Brown's now the head coach there. He's a former DB coach at Georgia, so he's probably has a relationship with him, and I think he's friends with King Joseph Edwards as well. That he went on the visit, but I do think they're a threat. But I do think still there isn't something that's sounding off the red alarm or DEFCON 5 that, hey, this kid's going to flip for sure. I think it's more just it's a threat. Now we got to finish the recruitment. Like I said, they're bringing the whole group over there. I think this week when they do the in home, and I think that's kind of building, setting up to the official visit. And then I think FSU's also the type where when they get it, they're going to lay it out. They got a great game plan of what they're going to do on the official visit, but I think they're also going to want that answer like, "Hey, we're with you." So what's the deal? So there's
Mm-hmm.
not some surprise or something. We want you here. Tell us if there's concerns. We'll cover them. We'll go over everything, and I think we'll get a lot of clarity with KJ Bolden, after this weekend. But I think it all sets up from a visit. So I mean, that's why you plan these visits last. That's why they plan the in-home last. That's why they plan the official visit last. That's why you do that with these guys that are committed. So I think certainly it'll be a big weekend in a big week overall on the KJ Bolden sweepstakes, and it won't go away no matter what I say. I could tell you guys KJ Bolden signing right now. I know how you'd feel. I know Travis
Mm-hmm.
Hunter. I get it. It's etched in stone forever. So no matter what I say, that's going to be the case, and I feel that I know that way. But at the same time, that's what I have right now on KJ Bolden.
So Seminoles for the win, 23. In the chat said worry level 4.5 out of 10. I suppose that's his personal worry
Okay.
level. How do you? Is that a good number or a little low for you? A little high for you? What do you think?
I mean, I think that's fair. I'd be a little lower for me, just what my intel is suggesting, but I think it's there. I mean, they're in the South. We know KJ Bolden's been around, plays for Buford. That's over in the near the Atlanta area. So you're in SEC territory. So you're gonna be. There's got to be some level of concern. If you didn't get concerned of any value in the South, then that you're going against SEC teams, of course you have to have some concern. But I think it's important to level out what the intel is suggesting, what people around him are telling you and telling me, and to just the FSU side of things too. So that's why I want to come in here and certainly address kind of what we have, and it's certainly one that you'll continue to monitor. But overall, that's kind of how I feel. That yes, there's communications and conversation to had, but at the same time, I do think everything points for me right now that FSU still the team that's in control. Yeah, LJ McCray had his state championship on Thursday. They won a crazy one, kick at the last second, and they won the state title. And then we interviewed him and talked to him afterwards, and he did say some interesting things. Like at one point, he was like, I'm locked in. I'm comfortable with Florida. That's where I want to be. But then on the other end, he was like, I really like the development of what FSU's doing. 13-0. That speaks for itself. You can't get away from that. And two, we know Florida had a struggling year. So, and you don't know what the history is going to be with that defensive coordinator for the future. He might survive, this cycle, but is he going to be there when LJ's, for most of his career? So I think that's a lot going on. And I've always said, like, when you're taking visits, you're not totally done, because especially this late in the process. So he's still doing that. He went to FSU on Friday, then went over to Auburn on Saturday. It's like when you're doing that, I think you're kind of looking for something to tip you off that, hey, I'm not totally sold in my mind that this is the place I'm going to go. So I think it's very much still up in the air. I think it's in the picture, and I think FSU, they were close last time. So I think it's very much a situation where I think FSU is going to be a major factor. We know Mike Norvell's going to probably do his in-home coming up soon, since he's going to decide on December 20th, maybe late in the weekend or something like that, or even during the week. But certainly a guy that I am not ready to cross off. I'm not ready to just. I haven't heard anything from the FSU side that leads me to believe, like, hey, we're holding up the white flag and we're moving on. I mean, they're actually recruiting even harder than they were before. So I think there's a lot of factors that certainly, from a product standpoint and a culture and all that stuff, I think it favors what FSU's doing. At the same time, he did commit to Florida for a reason. He does like the school. It's more than just who the coach was. So I think there's a lot of talking and going to be some decision making. He even said another thing that was interesting to me, where he said, I've been focused on my state championship. Now I'm going in the recruiting mode to consider it. He didn't say I'm getting ready for Florida. Like he said, like recruiting mode. That's an important, I think, you know, quote or things he said, as far as on that he's still considering everything, and I don't think he's ready to just lock it in, because if when you could tell when kids are locked in, they're focused on what they're going to do when they get there to that school, and I didn't get that sense with him when I talked with him. So that's kind of the main takeaway.
Let's see. Briley says he wants you to define your optimism pessimism scale here. What's more likely, finishing in the top 2 in 2024 in the recruiting class or outside of the top 5?
Well, I think it's kind of in between. Inside, I think in the top 5, I think is more likely. But certainly that's fluid, because if you get a guy like Jeremiah Smith. If you get Jeremiah Smith, then that's an easy answer. But we don't know that, so I can't really make a pick when I don't know for sure if they're getting that guy. And